Okay. Okay, so welcome everybody. The request for this training was um how to get to 20,000 a month. Is Pete here? Is Pete make it this morning?
Yeah, he's on here.
Okay, hey Pete. So Pete's actually the one that asked for this, and then Pete is on Carmen's team, and Carmen said, I want to do that for my whole team. So the only thing is getting to 20,000 a month is actually fairly easy. What is the only complicated part is depending on how knowledgeable you are of the pay plan. So if you were knowledgeable of the play plan, I can tell you how to get to 20,000 a month in 5 minutes. But I believe this team is so young, and probably a lot of people that are going to be watching this video are so young. It's going to take me a lot longer because you've got to understand a couple of the dynamics of the pay plan, the variations there, and then you'll be able to really understand the 20,000 a month. It's the second thing I will tell you is it's not hard, and there's a couple of different pathways to it, and and you don't need experience. Like I always tell everybody that the number one killer of people in our industry, it's the number one killer when I was coaching high school football, is comparison to other people. People move at different speeds here. And but I will tell you, oh, if you give yourself time, like 5 to 7 years for things to compound out, it all evens out. Skill sets are developed. Great people are always found. You don't need leaders from another company to build a massive income. Every leg I've got in this entire business is built organically, but two. Um, I did have some leaders when I first came here years and years ago, and I've hit other good leaders, but not personally. I organically found them. For example, there's some new great leaders in Canada in our business that are networkers. Some of you are on this call. However, I didn't call you. I didn't like you didn't join me. It found you through a guy bulldozing my land who led to a lady in a little small town called named Vernon that led to Ashley Antley that signed up her kindergarten teacher from a decade ago of her daughter in Atlanta, Georgia. And then that led to Chris and Joni. So like you don't have to know them. You just have to organically build until they show up. So I will tell you, don't compare, like just find your pathway. And also the second thing I'll say before we get into this mathematically is everybody arrives here differently. Like you don't have to make 20,000 a month to be successful in our industry. That's not a gauge at all. What you want here is an income stream in your life that begins to make a difference and have that income stream become passive and residual in nature. So now you have both time and money. And, our goals in the business changed over the years. In the beginning, when I was coaching high school football, like that first time I started making $500 extra a week and was able to operate with cash flow and start paying a little debt off, that was as good as money as I've ever made. That, in my opinion, it was equally as good to any $100,000 check I've ever received in this industry because it was making a difference. So, like, don't set your expectations too high in the beginning. Find some accomplishable goals, and I'm going to be hitting those as we go through this. And then as you start accomplishing goals, the rest of it's going to come. But I'm going to begin with this. And if anybody wants to stop me, like this is not a formal training. This is not like a big Saturday. This is a small group today. I want you to ask questions. I'm going to pause a lot, make sure everybody was clear. We're going to take our time. If you have to get off before we get done, I've got all the way to 2 o'clock before I have my next Zoom start. So if you have to get off, you can. The recording will be there, but I don't want to go fast and leave anybody that really wants to understand this fuzzy. So let's start with this. If you want the entirety of the compensation plan, like if you're an analytical, detailed person, it's kind of hard to read if you don't understand it, but you can go to the partner.co share app. If you don't have that, it's in both the Apple and the Android store. You can just download it for free. It's the same ID and same password. Go to tools. And when you click on tools, you'll have the PDFs of all the products, you'll have all the flyers, and you'll have the policy procedure manual, and you'll have the compensation plan. If you're one of those people that like it in writing. The next, I, by the way, I'm acting like y'all can see my screen and I haven't shared yet. Sorry about that. Okay, so I'm going to go back one screen. And if you don't have that PartnerCo share app, you can just scan that QR code right there and it will get it for you. And it's also in your app store. So either way you want to do it. And it's just partner.co share. Okay, so let's talk about the company for just 1 second. Oh, now I'm frozen. So in the company, I actually see Ann Walsden is here. I was on a Zoom just a minute ago with Ann and Billy, who have some good experience in the industry, and I was just walking through them. They have the same feeling that I have, and that is that when John and Darren bought the asset of my old company and some other companies, and created PartnerCo as we launched as a brand new company 2 years ago, February. They did it in 58 countries, 300 million in revenue, zero debt, tremendous cash flow, and the desire to create a forever company and pour resources into marketing, IT, logistics, expansion, all the things that our industry needs to thrive. So it was really only 2 years ago that the passion you're going to hear from me going through this today re-entered my body in this industry where I feel like I can look anybody in the eye now. I can't make them do it. Like this requires time, effort, energy, discipline, managing your emotions. There's a million things in play here that I can't do for you. But if you can figure that out, I will tell you that the foundation of a company that can create financial independence in your life has arrived in your life. We are all blessed. Like we're just in a place in life, in a company, in a time frame that if we go do our part, there's really, I don't think any amount of money we can't make. Um, we're in the middle because sometimes when people are seeing this for the first time, I like to account for where the money comes from because I always say you can't assume anything in our industry. People enter this very blindly on how we really work. But basically, our company, PartnerCo, and then you as an individual with your independent businesses, which is what you are, we are in the middle of a $1 trillion empire out there of goods and services exchanging hands in the health and wellness and skincare industry. By the way, we're getting ready to launch a massive skincare line. It's probably about a year out, but it's already underway. As you guys saw on the Zoom the other day, we're getting ready to launch a incredible collagen product. We've already launched two in the last 6 months. So our portfolio is always growing and it's always growing with very, very high quality products. We're going to be announcing a brand new doctor on our board that I think when you see his resume, it's actually very close now. He's going to be announced the 1st of May. He's actually going to be our two free vacations we win. I think there's 175 people that won the trip to Punta Cana. So we'll all be leaving to go there this weekend for a week. But that doctor is actually going to be in Punta Cana with all of us to be announced there and then officially in front of everybody May 1st. But I think when you see his background, his pedigree, where he came from, what he's already done in our industry, it's going to blow some people's minds because he's just going to be another one. He's not even going to be our top doctor, and he's always been a company's top doctor, and we've got one. Our top doctor, Dr. Ray Strand, is equally as good as he is, and is going to remain in that position for the time being. We have operations in 58 countries around the world. So that's the other way that you can get if you decide you want to make millions of dollars here. You've got not just a product, you have a plethora of products. We have cracked the code, as you guys all know, that are operating in the Skinny Drop system. We've cracked the code on blending our industry with social media, cash flow into the cash apps immediately, and then actually building the network marketing business. So there's already lots of things built out behind the Skinny Drops, ready to roll, other products being developed to fit that criteria. So, like, we're not a one product thing that's going to have a timeline. We're always going to be able to move. I always say no product lasts forever. As good as the iPhone is, I'm sure there will something come along because an iPhone didn't even exist 10 years ago. My kids really freak out when I tell them I went to high school before Google and cell phones. It doesn't make sense to them, but we all did, a lot of us on this call. It hasn't even been around that long. So there will always be something newer and better. And the way our company is set up is we are going to be able to adapt to that into time. It's very important because it's not just money, it's all of them. It's the ability to create residual income that flows to you forever. So let's begin the journey now of how to get to 20,000 a month. Now that you kind of have the foundation laid. One thing I'd asked Carmen, because she shared this last night. Carmen, before I get into actually how to make money, will you share what you were sharing with the group about the 1099 and and the ability to write off W-2 earnings if you have your own business.
Yeah, sure. I was just sharing like Marlene and Emil, they're in my business and they always have been when they used to do their presentations, they would share like just why we need the tax break, why we need a home-based business. And my daughter, just for an example, just became a teacher and she was just explaining to me, she's going to make a salary of about $65,000 a year. And that's a salary, right? So now, so the government takes about 25,000 of that off for taxes. So I just was talking with her about that. And I said, if you have a home-based business, you can then write off a lot of your life, right? And so even if it was becoming a tutor or this business or this company, now she can now probably save another $15,000 a year. And so just that, like, I mean, when I was really 20, like when I was 20 years old, I started my first network marketing company. I was working at the Royal Bank. So here's an example. I had a best friend. She had the exact same salary as me at the Royal Bank. We drove the same car. We had the same everything, same rent, same everything. And the only difference is I started a home-based business with these people from a network marketing company, and I learned a lot. And so I was able to write off some of my income, and she didn't, the girlfriend. And so we had the exact same salary. She ended up owing $3,000 at the end of the year in taxes, and I got $1,000. She owed anyways. It was about $3,000 difference. So that's the difference. That's the benefits of having a home-based business.
And by the way, Christy Walsh, I see you've joined us too. Christy is my Canadian expert. So, Christy, anything you want to chime in? I'll probably asking you some translations as we go through this too.
No
Okay.
problem.
So we're going to begin with the front end of the pay plan. Although this is actually not even going to be a factor on how to make 20,000 a month, but it is a factor. It's just a factor I can't quantify. I can quantify 20,000 a month in a couple of areas of our pay plan. I just can't quantify this one because I don't know how good of a sponsor you are. I don't know if you are going to be good at getting people ultimate or you're going to bring everybody in at 200 points. But I will tell you, new volume bonus can skew people's paychecks easily 1,000, 2,000 a week if you're just halfway consistent. And I've got a lot of people that make several thousand every week in new volume bonus. So first things first, just to make sure our new people that are brand new, you fully understand from start to finish. So from start to finish, and we're about probably 80% Canadian on this call, but we are about 20% American. So I will go back and forth a little bit on the dollar amount. So $29.95 American, $37.95 Canadian. When you pay that, you are a business owner here. Just as Carmen just mentioned, down here, you're 1099. In Canada, you're T4 on earnings, and you're able to write off all business expenses. My dad was a certified public accountant for 40 years, and it's really everything. He told me to get one of these really good credit cards that keeps track of everything. And he said, if I even buy a bottle of water, he wants it on that credit card. He said, you write off anything you want to, but you got to document it if you're audited. So that was my documentation all of the time. You do that as you choose. But then you've got to qualify your business. 200 points of product is needed when a person joins to qualify them for any income at all. They cannot make money until they have purchased or sold 200 points of product. They do not have to do that the second they join, although, I mean, 99.99% of the people do. But they do have 4 Fridays to get that accomplished. If somebody just comes in, even in Canada right now, you can't even really put a 4-pack in. You have to pay the $29.95 and then go back and order product. Same in the U.S. If you wanted to sign somebody up for $29.95 and let them go order products at their own will, they can. We generally like for them to come in with a pack. That way we know they're qualified and we know we can get them paid. But there are 3 other business levels, and these do play a role, actually a really big role on the upfront money. I would say it's greater than 5 times the amount of people that get to ultimate that are here making a lot of money a year from now and the ones that don't go ultimate. And there's a number of reasons, and I actually broke this down where you can see it all. So how do you go from activated at 200 points to ultimate at 1,500 points? You get 1,300 more points of product moved through your business over the first 4 weeks you're in the company. So some examples. To be basically qualified, if you're going to use our Skinny Drop system, you can always buy any product you want. But if you're going to use our system where you can make money, not spend money, you're going to buy a 4-pack of drops, which is 465 Canadian or 371 US. You're going to share 200 Canadian, 167 US for sale, and you're going to sell 3, and yours is going to be free.
Cute.
That allows you to be in our company. It covers your upfront cost. It covers your box of drops. You sell 3 boxes in a month, and your box is completely for free. So it is a really easy way to get people that are A, scared, B, fearful of their own ability, C, don't have the money. I heard somebody say this morning, I think it was Susan Cameron, who made 400,000 with her first year, that she pre-sold her first 4, meaning she started posting before she even purchased her 4-pack and started collecting money and used other people's money to purchase her 4-pack. So I always say this is the best system I've ever seen to allow anybody that wants to participate. There is here in the US, there is a 10-pack. It's probably where about 30-40% of the people that start here in the US start. You'll have the 10-pack in Canada in less than a month now. Right at the end of the month, you'll have it. And if you do a 10-pack, US 879, and then you sell 10 at 167, you've got a $700 profit. And you've moved 500 points of product at that point, which means on the scale, you're now at business. And this scale is, once you achieve the next title of business, you lock in the next percentage for life. You do. This is so important to understand. You do not have to requalify. You're at 20% now for life on anybody that you personally sponsor on the products that they begin to move. And then the ultimate goal is to get ultimate. So in the US, if you're in the Skinny Drop system that is moving a 30-pack, doesn't have to be bought initially as a 30-pack. You can buy a 4-pack, a 10-pack, another 10-pack, and do it however you want to. In Canada, that's how everybody does it anyway, because the 30-packs aren't available up there. You just move 30 boxes, and you're going to be ultimate for life. Here in the US, it's about a $2,700 US profit. In Canada, it's going to be about a $2,350 profit, correct? Christy, if a person goes ultimate and does it all selling Skinny Drops?
Yeah, it's about 2,300.
2,300 profit in Canada.
Yeah.
All right. So why do I want to go ultimate? And again, this is not going to be a part of the 20,000, but this can add a lot of, like, this is the fastest money you will make in the company because it's based upon your personal sponsors. So if I'm ultimate, it's really easy to understand the fact that I now make 30% instead of 15%. And let's look at what that looks like. So if you sign up somebody tomorrow and you're activated and they order 100 points of product, the company owes you $15. If you're ultimate and you sell the same 100-point products, or a new brand partner enters and buys the same 100 points, you now make $30. So it's twice the money for the same exact action. And then every single person that you sign up that you get to ultimate in their first 4 Fridays, after the 4th Friday, although we can get them ultimate later on, you'll never get paid new volume bonus after the 4th Friday. And it's not always easy to get them ultimate until they open up these windows like they're running right now. So there is a window open right now, if you do not know this, that everybody in North America can go ultimate, no matter how long they've been in the company, if they didn't get there the first 4 Fridays. But no one will receive new volume bonus. They'll just get paid the same 15% of base pay, where everybody moves to after this, when the second month starts. But understand, I'm going to go real slowly through this because Carmen, I wanted to make sure Carmen asked Carmen to tell me every single thing that they're dealing with. So one of the things that she said that sometimes people are confused on, and it's the same in the US, no different. And that is, for every brand new person that you sign up, you're going to be paid, if you're ultimate, 30% on all the products that they sell or move for the first 4 Fridays or until they go ultimate. So here in the US, if you signed up somebody and they move 1,500 points of product, you'll be paid $450. In Canada, that translates, because you're paid in US dollar, it translates before it hits your bank account. That's right. I think it's 607 on today's exchange rate, but 600 range is what it's going to be, because that it does move around a little bit. But here's the thing that Carmen brought up that we also see, and that is not a one-time bonus. That is actually occurring every week. So if you sign somebody up and they sign up with 200 points of product, you're going to be paid 30% of 200 the following Friday. And then the next week, if they bought a 10 pack and moved 500 more points of product, you'd be paid 30% of 500 the next Friday for 100. What is that? $150. And that keeps on going till you hit 1,500. So I think one expectation was that there's going to be a $600 bonus when they go ultimate. And there is. It's just come out every week as that was being cumulatively ordered or sold or bought over that first 4 Fridays. Anybody have a question on that, or Carmen, anybody want to mention anything on that?
No, that's perfect, Todd. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So there it is cleanly one last time. That's just new volume bonus. Reese, anything you want to add there?
Yeah, I just wanted to say on just this is how this is so balanced, is because it's upfront income through that getting to ultimate, having the 30% new volume bonus, all that. That's how that's how your new people that have never done this before. This is how Ashley, my wife, how she made money when she came in.
So let's talk about that 1 second, Reese, if you don't mind. Because I think everybody doesn't really understand this in this new growing group. So this is the piece of the puzzle that changed my whole paradigm shift 24 years into this industry. In the last 2 years, the way I see everything is 180 degrees different. And I really struggle conveying this to other network marketers. But Reese, your wife made $20,000 in 90 days outside of PartnerCo's pay plan. Can you go through that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean that was just money in her Venmo, money that I never even saw until she started buying things. Like it seriously, it was just she started with a 4-pack thinking, okay, I can do this. And before she got her 4-pack in, she had already sold those. So she ordered a 10-pack. And it just kept rolling. But once she hit ultimate, she did, a couple 10 packs. She got her 30 boxes, whatnot. She was ultimate. And then all of a sudden now, actually, she was ultimate before she started, because the girl above her had to place an order, and she ordered 30 boxes, and it was 1,500. And that's what we did, because you can take this now. Once you're ultimate, now I can go take and place my 30 pack or my 10 pack or whatever it is under somebody that I sign up, like what Todd's showing, like that number 1 at the very bottom. So if I signed up Christy Walsh right now and put her down there, and I would go and I needed a 10 pack, I wouldn't place it under myself. I would go down to the very bottom and put Christy in and put that 500 PV for a 10 pack under her. And all that would come back up, and we would get new volume bonus on that. So we would get the new volume bonus, but everybody would get credit for that 500 PV from that one all the way up to us.
Yeah, so I'm going to write this in here. So let's just say you said Christy. Let's just say you sign up Christy right here. And when you sign up Christy right there, I'm sorry, I'm trying to move that down. That one right there, you're sticking them, and we're getting ready. If you don't understand our pay plan at all, just hang tight. You're going to understand this in 1 minute. But we're building at least 2 legs of business. And once you go ultimate yourself, you're using the skinny drop system of selling on social media. You've got to have a place to stick the next 4, 10, or 30 pack. You don't want to stick it on yourself if you're ultimate. If you stick it on yourself, it's going to pay you 15% back in the pay plan. But if you stick it on someone that's been personally sponsored by you, and they're still within their first 4 Fridays in the company, it actually pays you the full 30% back. So on that, if you bought a 30 pack, that's 1,500 points times 30%. You actually make $450 back. So US dollars, 600 Canadian, which means now instead of making $2,300 in Canada, you're going to get 600 more in the pay plan. So now you make $2,900 on every 30 that move after the first 30, because you're getting the money back in the pay plan. This also creates stupid stability for your business. So everybody can do what they want, and there are sometimes reasons why people cannot run the skinny drop system, and I totally understand all of those reasons. But the teams that teach this correctly are 10 times faster making money than the teams that don't. It's like I have such a clear view of it all, and it blows my mind how fast people are making money without a skill set. I've never seen it ever before in network marketing. And it's really the ones that slow down enough, not just sign people up, but they sign them up. They download boards. They show them how to work boards. They show them how to post. They help them post. They help them set up professional mode. They help them schedule out a whole week of 2-a-day post at 9 and 3. They show them how to answer the questions. They work with them. They get tagged in their social media. And then you heard, for those of you on the IPA call this morning, the ones like Susan Carmen that made 47,000 her 5th month, she's helping every one of her team members talk to those customers, to convert those customers to brand partners, to help those new brand partners do the same thing we just went through. There's just never been, in my 24 years of network marketing, a system that worked for everybody. I've just never seen it. And it all is going to play a huge role, as because we got one more thing to talk about, and then we're going to get into the scientific way to 20,000 a month. Because I'm not even including this money, but Reese Antley's wife, Ashley, with Reese against the business, talking bad about it, no experience. She made $20,000 in her Venmo, and Reese, probably safe to say, about another $3,000 or $4,000 in new volume bonus in the pay plan.
Yeah, it was closer to 10.
Okay, so she made $30,000 her first 90 days with no experience. Yep. My wife and I had not even got to her yet. Like we were just getting to her. She was probably at $10,000 in income before we even could get to her to tell her what she had signed up in.
Yeah. The only thing she knew is she knew she made more money if she placed it under some new sponsor. And she used that to sign people up. She said, hey, I need somebody to place an order under. So it's a great recruiting tool. Hey, I need to place this order. I'll place this order. You'll be ultimate. You don't even have to do anything, and you're already ultimate at your high paid level. And she did that. And that's when it kind of clicked for me, is when I saw her doing that. I'm like, how can you generate this kind of money? And I really started studying it. But that's one, like you said, the stability side of it too. That 1,500 PV goes up through all those people. So if it's 100 levels deep, it goes through 100 people to give them some volume, whether it's pay line or power line.
Yeah. And for those of you that have been around network marketing for a while, nobody's out of money. There's nothing being stocked in a garage or a pantry. There's no front loading. These are real products that are moving lots of times before we can even get them back in our hands, and cash flow coming into the cash app. Like Ashley Antley moved like 500 boxes of drops, straight cash flow into her life and straight volume under all of the people in her business. It is just like, if you're not running and doing the skinny drop system, please hear me. And Christy, you were able to implement the same thing happened to you, Christy. And that's one of the things that jacked your paycheck up so quickly, is that you are a really good trainer and you got a lot of people duplicating what you were doing. You want to share?
Sure, yeah. It all boils down to making things duplicatable. So when I was developing the scripts in our boards and everything, I was breaking down exactly the steps to get to ultimate, why it's important to get to ultimate, why to place your orders under new brand partners, and how to get to ultimate in Canada, because it is quite a bit different, right? So there's a few extra steps. But once you get your team members doing this and duplicating it and making it, throughout your whole downline, you start to see the volume just skyrocket.
Yeah, I know a lot of you guys have been on trainings with Christy and or Joni, but they're literally two of the best at this in our whole world. I mean, they took our boards in the US and then upped the ante and made them better. So like, anybody that doesn't understand what we're talking about right now, just schedule Christy one-on-one. Most of you are in her business, one direction or the other, or Reese or any. I'm not the best trainer on it. I admit. I'm a classic example of someone that doesn't slow down enough to do this correctly all the time. Although Eric Larson, and the gentleman we just met from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, are here because of the skinny drop system, because Eric messaged me on Facebook based upon some of my skinny drop posts.
Todd, I have some questions.
Yes.
On volume, I'm used to a binary getting paid on a week leg. Is cycle bonuses not even in the equation here because it's just volume coming straight up?
So new volume bonus, which is what we're talking about right now, it pays on every leg, no matter where it's at. It does not make a difference. If you personally sponsor it, you're getting paid 30% the first 4 Fridays, no matter what. But when you're placing people, you always want to be placing at the bottom of the weaker leg. And remember, we're not a binary because we're going to have a lot more than 2 legs into time. But you don't want to place someone yourself at the bottom of a power leg, although you would be paid the 30%. When the second month starts, it will then become base pay. And we're getting ready to really cover this in depth. And at that point, if it was your strongest leg, you would not get the 15% unlimited. So that's the reason the placement always goes in the weaker leg.
Okay, second question. Does volume, people that are not active, does volume bank for them or does it erase?
It banks 100% of the time as long as there is and we're getting ready to cover this right now, 100-point active auto ship. But if they turn their auto ship off, it does not bank.
Okay, and then third question on that. When people are buying these packages and they're buying 4 and selling 3 and keeping 1, how are these people, are they shipping their product to people or just within
Yes.
inner circle?
Yes. So there's two things you can do here. You can use the company and send a link with a box of drops only. We call it a smart link. They can buy that way. The company will ship, bill, collect, and put your retail sales in your paycheck. So if somebody does not want to mess with our system, but they still want to sell, maybe they're a big influencer and it's not possible for them to sell themselves. The influencers usually use their smart links. They can go that route. And again, you put your link, they fill it out, you have nothing to do with it. It'll be about a $50 retail profit and about another $21 in the pay plan. So $71 per box total. But if you buy in bulk and are willing to ship yourself, and in the board system, we have all this. We actually use a particular shipping company. It's in boards. You'll download it on your phone or your computer. You can ship anywhere pretty much in the States for $5. Canada's a slightly different. I don't know the dynamics up there. Kristen, do y'all use that same system we use down here to ship, or do y'all use something else up there?
We use Canada Post just to ship usually.
What is it generally shipping up there cost wise?
If you have the small business card through Canada Post, it's free to get. You just say you're a sole proprietor. It costs $16.99 to ship 1 box, and it takes 2 days to ship. It's really easy.
Okay, so here's why we go out of our way to do that. The first and main reason is because of this picture right here. If I use a smart link, I'm the only one that gets credit. If I use a smart link, I'm always only going to get 15% because it's not being placed on somebody brand new. So number one, I get paid less. And number two, I cannot put the volume at the bottom of the pile. And then the third reason we buy in bulk and ship ourselves is because once you make Ultimate and you're placing this order at the bottom, US, we make $3,000 on every 30 we move. We have $100 profitability per box. It's just far greater buying it in bulk and doing that. In Canada, it's going to be 2,900 in profit Canadian dollars doing it that way. So there's more profitability. We get to share the volume with the whole team. So there's reasons we go out of our way to do it. But again, if somebody doesn't want to mess with it, they can smart link it to death and never touch a product and never waste 1 second of their own personal time. I would say for an influencer that has no desire to ever build, the smart links are the way to go. You don't have to think, just make your post, put your link on your Instagram and sell 100 boxes tomorrow and make you a couple $1,000s. But for anybody wanting to build a team, the ability to place these 30 packs at the bottom and create volume for everybody and really build other people's paycheck, which is the stability of your own paycheck, is the greatest thing that I've ever seen in network marketing. Because like the teams that do this right, they're literally driving 10 to 20,000 volume to the bottom of these legs weekly. And it's just blows. Like, I mean, there's just no possible way that a Susan Cameron that has zero experience in network marketing can make $47,000 her 5th month in this company without a system like this. And Susan Frank taught it. And then Susan and Susan ran it to a freaking T and then elevated it. They learned things and have shared with all of us that we now have instituted. Okay, one more thing, and then we're going to get into the 20,000 a month. So this is another piece of the compensation plan. I skipped one thing. got off track. You got to. There. You have to have a 100-point auto ship from the company. There is a qualifying week. When you click on subscription, you'll see the qualifying weeks. It's color coded. Make sure it's on your qualifying week. I just fixed one for somebody this morning. It's no big deal. They'll back pay you if it's messed up. Like, it's no big deal. However, you do need to know it. You do need to teach it right, because if you don't teach it right, it kind of gets out of hand and it's hard to get them all. It's not that we can fix them all. It's just time consuming. So it's a 100-point auto ship. We try our best to include this on the sign up process because they are not charged. We put it in 100 points that renew in MOA or renew in the energy product Rejuvenex. That's two of my favorite. It doesn't matter which ones you use what you like. But that's the reason you want to quickly train in at least two, not talk about necessarily on the front lines, but train in two other products that you believe in, that are well priced, because like a Renew MOA is like 157 US for 100 points. It's one of the cheapest combinations. They're two of the products that when people get on them, they never freaking come off of them. I mean, I would pay $500 a piece to keep my body on those two products. They make such a difference in it. They're actually more sticky long-term than the drops are. They're just not quite as compelling on the social media scroll, grabbing somebody's attention initially until they understand it. But I generally will put that on there and tell them, listen, it doesn't bill you to the 4 Fridays out. I will show them the Friday on the calendar. If you want to cancel this, feel free to. If you want to change the products, just go in there and edit and switch the products in there that you want. Only thing that matters is it's 100 points. It can be changed every month, however you want to do it. But you just have to have that. And it, by the way, it also can be a customer. So if you have send out a smart link and they do subscribe and save, which means they're going to do it recurring monthly, and it's on your qualifying week, that counts as equally as well as your own personal consumption does. It also must have an auto ship for the carryover volume that I'm going to be going in depth on, that Pete just asked about. You got to have an auto ship on to win the free vacations, and you've got to have an auto ship on to maintain the 30% discount. But if you don't want to be paid and you don't want to go on free vacations, you don't care about carryover volume, the auto ship does not have to be 100 points for the 30%. It can be any dollar amount. It can be whatever. You just need one reoccurring customer to maintain the 30%. Okay. Last thing, and then we're going to move into the mathematics of 20,000 a month. This is the part of the compensation plan that I can just never give you 100% answer on. Reese is making close to 36912. He's approaching 15,000 a month in this one area of pay on only one leg. So, and I've got people that do way better than that than Reese. Reese has only been here not just barely 2 years. So, like, this area of the comp plan for builders 5 years from now will be the biggest part of your paycheck. Like, Ken Bailey probably makes $20,000 a week just in this area of the comp plan. Tim Sells, my personal sponsor, he probably makes $30,000 a week in this area of the comp plan. This is a massive, massive area because there is no breakaway. There is no minimum and there's no maximum. And if you don't understand what that means, it doesn't matter to you. But for the ones that have been around our industry for a while, it simply means when you sign somebody up, you're getting 15% of their base paycheck for life without exception. And the only requirement is to be qualified for it and maintain your auto ship. And how you qualify for it is you must be ultimate. If you go ultimate, it's going to come with gold status, and it's going to unlock the first 3 levels of matching check for life. You can also unlock matching check by personally sponsoring 8 people in your first 8 weeks. You can do it either way, but just going ultimate, and this is unlocked forever. So Reese, are you able to share and talk through your matching check real quick? And then we're going to get into the math of the money.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm unsharing right now.
Let me grab that share. Okay. I just grabbed one that had savings plan bonus in it too, just in case you wanted that.
I do.
Okay. So for us, like you said, the matching check, you can tell right here where base commission was 1,300. That's not an optimized line or anything like that. but my matching check off basically one line was 1,987. We're averaging about 2,300, 2,500 a week, sometimes 3,000 in matching check. Then the savings plan bonus, which Todd will talk a little bit about. But you can see the generational level 1, level 2, level 3, our generation, sorry. And then as you go down this, because we had over $1,000, it unlocked 5 generations. And I know this might not seem like, you look at just one of these $3, $1.23, whatever. But when you add these generation 4s, you see all the generation 4s, all the generation 5s that are there. When you add those up, it's a pretty dang big number. So unlocking those next generations are huge too, but just in those first little bit. And this is what's nice is like, if breakaway existed, any of these that would have been more than what we made in base commission, we wouldn't have got paid on. But because there's no breakaway, nothing like that, we get paid on the success of everybody below us in those 7 generations. So that's, I mean, and this is in our power line, Todd. I mean, most of these people you see are in our power lines. We spend a lot of our time there. Gives great incentive to work in your power line. Yeah, exactly, Carmen. Matching bonus means your people are making money. That's how you know that it's not just based on volume that you've generated through there. This is volume your people have generated and they've generated from customers and everything else. But I mean, for us, this is the game changer. The matching check is the game changer, as you said, Todd. I mean, yours is huge. Ken Bailey's huge. I know Tim's is 2.5 times his base commission. This is where a lot of the long-term residual walkaway money is built right here.
That's the reason you never abandon a leg. You always are driving to, I mean, I wouldn't abandon a leg if it was doing $1 million a week. You're always driving money into your leader's life. And this compensation plan matches it into your life for taking the time to do it. It's just so powerful. Kim Gray, who some of you know her story, she just hit a leader from Young Living, and she was in Gulf Shores, Alabama last weekend. And she called me after the meeting. She said, Todd, these ladies are crazy. I said, what are you talking about? She said, when I explained that there was no breakaway and matching check, like these are older women, like 60s and 70s. She was like, these women were shouting and screaming like they were at a revival. She said it was crazy because they had lost so much money in I don't know how their compensation plan works, but they evidently would have made 100 times more if they'd had this compensation plan. And anyway, 7 people came in that day as ultimate. And the reason they came in was because of matching check. That was what grabbed them. Okay. I do have a Zoom at 2, so I've got to get right into the reason we're here. But until you understood all of this, you can't understand what I'm about to tell you. But this part now is going to be simple, how to get to 20,000 a month. Okay. So when we move into base pay, you're going to make, if you think like a binary, Pete, and you're only building 2 legs, which is fine, but I suggest most people begin with 3 legs. 2 is more than fine, though. It looks like a binary. Besides, matching check is paying on every leg, new volume bonus is paying on every leg, and you're going to be paid 15% unlimited of every leg but the biggest. So when we move into this area of pay, everything is black and white. There's no exception to the money I'm about to tell you. So if you were paid, if you built this and you had 2,000 points of product on leg 1 and 1,000 on leg 2, you'd be paid 15% of leg 2 for $150. By the way, that translates to about 200 Canadian by the time it hits your bank account. Remember, you're able to drive that volume at the bottom of every leg. This shows you exactly what Pete asked just a second ago, and that was, what about your power leg? What happens to that volume? As long as you have an active auto ship, when you're paid or not paid, the volume that is left over in the power leg carries forward nonstop. So this particular scenario shows you were paid on 1,000 points in a pay leg. So that Friday, it will subtract away from the power leg 1,000, and the new week will begin with 1,000 carryover. All right. So how do I make 20,000 a month? Here's the math. It's really simple. The goal is to have at least 2 legs that are creating 13,000 volume points weekly. Why 13,000 weekly? If you do the math on 13,334 times 15%, that equals $2,000, and it creates what we call an optimized income position. When you do that, a lot of things occur. Number one, you're given a new leg. If you're ultimate, you start with 5. So if you optimize one income position, you'll have 6 legs now. You'll never catch your legs. You can build as many as you want here. How do you optimize a leg? There is a million ways, and this is the key thing. This is why the skinny drop system is just, it speeds this up so much, because otherwise we're just waiting on growth and normal auto ships. But when you have and this is the thing that Chris and Joni Budd found out when they jumped from like 10,000 to 30,000 in 60 days in income monthly. They saw this for the first time. I told them, but a networker cannot believe it until they experience it. So in traditional network marketing companies, the things that create volume are signups, people signing up and joining you, although some companies don't even count that, but some of them do. Auto ships, meaning that the 100-point auto ship, when that bills once a month, that creates volume. When people just go place random orders, that creates volume, meaning somebody just wants to go buy some products, they go purchase it orders. So all of those things are creating this volume that we're chasing to get 13,334. But here's where the skinny drop system changes all the dynamics. So if you go back to Ashley Antley, and there's hundreds, thousands of Ashley Antleys. There's so many, it's unbelievable. Christy saw the same thing on her team. And when she took off in Canada like she was the first one to implement the system up there. But what happens is that people that are in your business, in any other company, the only thing they would be doing to drive growth is signing up new people, and every now and then purchasing a personal order. But in the skinny drop system, these people are going and placing 1,500 point orders, lots of them once or twice a month, over and over and over. So if you have been teaching the system correctly, and let's just say you have 100 people on a leg, and 10 of them next week needed another 30 boxes of drops, that means 1,500 points. I'm sorry, not 1,500. Yeah, 1,500 points times 10 people, 15,000 points are going to hit that leg next week based upon no signups, no auto ships, no random purchases, just based upon people needing more drops to sell on social media and create more cash flow into their cash out, Venmo, or e-transfer. Like it puts this whole thing on steroids. So 9 30 packs optimizes a leg. That's the reason the skinny drop system, like if you want to move fast, whether you're doing it or not, you have to teach it. So now here's the math. So if I only have 2 legs that optimize, I will make 2,000 in base pay. That triggers shares in the income position bonus pool, which is the first 2 legs. That's called an income position. That is going to be equal to approximately $500. It's not stagnant. It is always growing. So if you haven't done it yet, it may be more than that by the time you get there. And then you're going to be getting the savings account match, which is always 15% of base pay. So 15% of 2,000 is $300 going in your savings account. So there is no variation here. If you do 13,334 in 2 legs, you will make $2,800 a week. Times 52 weeks is $145,000. So just with that alone, you're at like $11,000 a month. But remember, we're not talking about new volume bonus here. We're not talking about any retail sales, and we're not talking about matching check. So remember, if that's Reese Antley, when he's optimizing like this, you're going to add another $150,000 in matching check to Reese's paycheck. So Reese doing this and this alone, Reese and Ashley Antley are at $300,000 a year doing nothing but this. So the matching check is the variable that I can never tell somebody certain. So we're well north of $10,000 a month just on base pay, savings account, and the $500 bonus. However, how you then get it to 20,000 plus a month is you do that on 3 legs, and you can add a 3rd leg or you can start with 3. It's completely up to you. But when you get 3 legs optimizing, here's your math. Really simple. You're now at 4,000 in base pay because you're getting 2,000 on both pay legs. You're going to be at $1,000 in bonus money, and you're going to be at 500 in savings account. Why 500? Only because the savings account does max at 500 a week. So you're not getting 300 on the second leg. It maxes at 500, but you are at $286,000 a year, way north of 20,000 a month. So you don't even need the third leg to optimize. So remember, 9 ultimates a week optimize a leg, 134 100-point auto ships, all the 4-packs, 10-packs, all the signups, all the random purchases, all this is contributing. But the people that are really teaching and building with our skinny drop system, I mean, Susan Cameron has optimized 3 legs basically every week since her 3rd month in the company. She now is pretty consistently optimizing leg 4 and sometimes leg 5. So almost 5 legs, which means she's well over $1 million growth if she can optimize 5 legs weekly. But 286. Now here's the key for the Pete's of the world, who is the reason we're doing this today. There was 2 things that grabbed my attention when I studied this comp plan, making the decision to come to this company. Number 1 was matching check. I had never seen a company, and still have not, in network marketing where you can sign up 1 rep on 1 leg and have a 100-point auto ship and even possibly think you can make any real money. You can literally make $1 million a year here if you have 1 leg with 1 right rep and you have an auto ship, as long as you win ultimate and are qualified for the first 3 generations. But the second reason I did is because our companies are littered with car programs that people end up buying their own car because they don't stay car qualified. And that's why I love our savings account. But here's the part that grabbed me. So many companies have these special pools, special things, and I don't know, 50% of it is what you do, and 50% of it's when people like you or not. I mean, it's human nature. So when I saw that there was a bonus pool that had no human interaction involved, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. It was just based upon production. So the way this pool works is really simple. Every single time you optimize a new leg, you get an exponential number of more shares put into the bonus pool. So this is the only complicated part about this. The first 2 legs you optimize, leg 1 and 2, they call that an income position, and it's actually a second pull. So that bonus money is $500. You'll get $2,000 plus a $500 bonus. But the 3rd leg forward, every leg you do after that, starting on the 3rd leg, that begins the income position pull. That's the reason this 3rd leg is only $500 again, for a total of $1,000 on those 2 legs. But starting on the 4th leg, that's what they call your second pay leg. And this is where the exponential part of the bonus system takes off. So you can see there, if you get that 4th leg, that'll be another 2,000, but the bonus is 1,500. And if you get a 5th leg, it's another 2,000, and the bonus is 3,000. These are all weekly, by the way. And if a person really has strong desire to go build something massive over time, and you were to build 8 pay legs, 10 total legs is what that would be, you'd be making 8 times 2,000, but you would also be getting an $18,000 bonus weekly. No human interaction involved. Like, nobody has an opinion. So this shows you 4 legs here. So this is what I was saying is Susan Cameron now does 4 legs every week and sometimes 5. So on 4 legs of business, it's 2,000 times 4 plus the savings bonus plus the bonus money. So I wrote down the total there underneath every leg. So 2,800 on the first one, 2,700 and 3,500. So you're at $468,000 a year with 4 legs optimizing. That does not include new volume bonus. That does not include retail sales. And it does not include matching check. And I will generally say matching check is going to be equal to or greater than. So if you build 4 legs and you're making $468,000 a year in this area pay, more than likely in time, you'll be making at least that in matching check too. So generally speaking, between 4 and 5 legs, optimizing weekly is $1 million a year in our company. It's really just that simple. Nothing more or nothing less to it. So anyway, that was a whole lot. I'm 1 minute away from my next Zoom, but they're with us already. So y'all just hang out with us because you may want to hear some of these questions anyway. But if anybody has questions or comments, anybody wants to add anything, please do.